Well, hi there. It's been a while. Lots of things have happened. Been busy. Had a few health issues to kind of work through. I've had staff issues to work through. And like everybody at the minute, money issues. But anyway, still here, still fighting the good fight. Just thought I'd just give everybody a bit of an update, actually, and I've got a little bit of news about some things that I'm planning on doing. Been a little bit hog-tied of late. Things have been tight. We've been busy, but we've been busy trading water, and that's not the way I really want to go. Anyway, less of my woes and more about this machine, which I have to say has raised a hell of a lot more interest than I ever dreamt. So thank you everybody for commenting, for subscribing to the channel. I've got to apologize once more. It's been difficult to make content. Content takes a lot of time, and I have to kind of find the time to construct what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, and to keep the channel interesting. So I'm going to try to do more posts. I think I've said this before in previous videos. I'm going to try to do more and more, and I never do. It's just one of those things. However, the guys at Proma Electronica, great little company, great products, sent me a MyOhmic device, and I'll show you all about that in a minute. The problems I were having was that from the water table getting onto the nozzle, it was shorting from the nozzle to the cap, the water, and the plasma wouldn't fire, because it saw as a dead short, and it fired up the material detect error. So, sorry, just bug landed on. So to overcome that, the guys at Proma sent me the MyOhmic device, and what a difference that has made. It is superb. I highly recommend anybody that's got a water table like this, very well used water table now. Anybody who's got one of these, please get one. You will save yourself a lot of time, a lot of aggravation. If you remember, I got so frustrated I went with floating head look, which we just don't use anymore, and I'll show you in MyPlasm in a minute. So again, I am unashamedly plugging the MyOhmic from Proma Electronica. There will be a link in the description, because it has made a world of difference. I wouldn't have had to do any of this mechanical crap had I, got my hands on it before. But obviously it was in demand, otherwise they would not have made it. And it is such a simple thing to implement. It's almost like a volume control. If I just show you in here, hang on. The light's going to be a little bit pants, but there it is. If you can see there, it's so simple to wire in. You just wire it from there. That there is power, I believe. Oh no, that is the ohmic torch and what have you. And down here are the power and the other bits. But it wires directly into that part of your MyPlasm system, which comes off the Proma MyPlasm system there. Very easy to wire in. It doesn't. It's nowhere near as complicated as it looks, and if you have a little look in here, you can see what we've got there. I mean, to be fair, I haven't got my glasses on, but that's the device. And the beauty about this is that there is in there a little potentiometer which you can adjust the sensitivity, which was always going to be the problem. So the fact that now you've just plugged this little beauty in and you can adjust the sensitivity, it basically means that you don't have those what I used to call wet issues with the torch. So you haven't got to change anything here. You haven't got to do anything to the torch. You haven't got to do anything to MyPlasm. You haven't got to do anything at all. You just wire it in as per the instructions. Please take note of the instructions. Do not wire anything the wrong way around. There are some reverse polarity protection within the board, but all that is a capacitor. So, well, I might be wrong, But from what I can see, all that appears to be is a capacitor, and that capacitor, if you wire something in wrong, blows up and stops you wiring it, feeding power the wrong way through the system. So please take note of the wiring instructions. It is quite important. They're not the cheapest thing, but they're definitely the most required if you have a wet table, so a water table in other words. All right. Like I say, we used to have the situation where it would do one cut and it would stop because there's water arcing across the the nozzle and the shroud, and it was so immensely frustrating. So frustrating, obviously I built the floating head, but as I say, we do not use that anymore. So to prove my point, this is my little thermometer sketch that I've got going, and if we look in here, you will see that I've only got the touch ohmic sensor, not the floating head. All right. By the way, that ohmic correction, 1 mil is plenty. If anything, it might be a little bit too much. All right. So that's all. That's the only settings. That's my settings I've got for my machine. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to cut out that. You can see if I cheated, I've already cut one out. I'll show you it. There we go. There it is. All right. So that's what we're going to cut out. But I want you to see that the water splashing all over. I mean, I can do that, and I will guarantee that it will still work. Okay, so let's just fire it up. I think we're good to go, and watch it cut some steel. Let's spit some chips, as it were. Okay. I can just throw water on this thing. Yeah, chucking water on it, and it is doing its thing. And there we have it, absolutely faultless. I was spewing water on it, throwing water on it, and it was just going about its business like nothing happened. That would not happen at all. That definitely wouldn't happen at all without that MyOhmic on there. So again, without sounding like I'm plugging the holy cow out of this particular product, it's awesome. I must say that Proma did send it to me FOC, free of charge. It has taken me a little while to get this, not to get it installed, to be honest. We installed it pretty quickly, and then I really did cuss like a navvy. I mean, I would make the religious sorts of everybody out there, including myself, blush with how much I swore when I saw it working, because it made that much difference. So that pretty much concludes this little video. I'm going to do another one straight after this, and I'm going to post it straight after this. But I think this is a video of note, of worth, and it has helped us no end. And I know Randy, a few of the other guys that are building their machines, I don't know whether they've gone water table or no yet. I really must check them out, and I really must catch up with everybody because you have been awesome. I am going to start a Patreon channel purely because I would like to share more of this. I need to document this better. I want to get drawings made and pitfalls. I mean, there are so many things questions that my fantastic subscribers have been asking. And they've been pretty interesting questions because in my mind I just dealt with it and got over it, but not everybody has got the same kind of insanity that I have to stand here for hours, days, weeks on end, trying to figure out the best way to do something. So yeah, thank you very much to everybody who's asked those questions. Just as a note, we were doing some numbers last week, and this MyPlasm driven machine, I am very proud to say, has cut now over 1,000 ton of steel. Just to put that in perspective, that is a shed load of steel. So I'm very, very proud that this machine faultlessly has cut that much steel. Admittedly, we had a few little cheat jobs, and what I mean by that is I had a customer who wanted to do the drain cover plates for construction sites, and they needed 100 of them. Well, to be fair, that was nearly, 70 ton all by itself, because it was big, heavy inch plate, and we did cut it with this. I wish I'd taken video, but as I say, the time and the disruption that it causes can be a bit challenging. But yeah, just to let you know, we passed 1,000 ton on this machine. I would love to see what that would look like out in our yard, 1,000 ton of steel, but it is one hell of a lot. And I was keeping those figures to prove really that the MyPlasm system is, in my opinion, unfairly branded as a DIY system, which suggests that it's some guy in a garage, building a machine, and this is the cheapest bit of software he can lay his hands on and hardware. I beg to differ. I think with the learning curve with my guys, so I had a new guy start about 3-4 weeks ago, and I had him using this machine proficiently inside an hour. None of this Mac 3 crap or, bespoke software where you've got to put in this configuration, that, it was a very easy, a very, very quick process to get somebody up to speed and to be proficient at using it. To those of us that use these machines day in, day out, that seems like an absolute no-brainer. You're going, well, yeah. But no, it's not as easy as it sounds when you're completely new to it, and having to teach people and how to use this. You kind of realize exactly how you've learnt along the way, or I've learnt along the way. I've been at this for 10 years dicking around with these machines. And, I finally got a machine that I can say, hand on heart, I am proud of. I'm patting myself on the back, but that's because I got long arms. So it really is a case of the MyPlasm equipment. Do not dismiss it. If you are thinking about building a machine, or you're even thinking about upgrading your overcomplicated Farley plasma cutter that may have been converted from Oxy or whatever, seriously consider this option. I would say the MyPlasm hardware, I would say closed loop steppers, and a rigid, and this is quite important because of the speed at which I can get this thing to move, a rigid body, and have all your correct sensors, collision detection in place, have your hard stops and soft stops set. It's important to do all of this stuff, and the MyPlasm gear does allow you to do that. I've got a lot to learn about tidy wiring and tidying stuff up, but I like to just get shit working, and then once it's working, I go, yeah, I'll tidy up one day, one Christmas or something. But at the moment, it's working. So yeah, don't underrate the MyPlasm system. That's all I'm saying. And I am not, the only sponsorship I've got from Proma Electronica, which is the company that makes the MyPlasm, is purely they sent me the MyOhmic because they could probably sense the frustration of a water table causing those kinds of problems. So I'm very grateful to them for sending it to me FOC. That's just pure magic. And does it sway my opinion to say the MyPlasm way is the way to go forward, or using Proma Electronica gear? Yeah, it does. Damn right it does. I would say that if you're a little shop and you've got a little bit of time and you're on a budget to build yourself a machine that can even cut out rudimentary shapes and just get you going in the CNC plasma cutting side of your business, then just do it. You know, you haven't got to do it all at once. You know, I'm on hand a lot of the time to give you the specification that I've had. I winged this, I have to say. It's been winged purely because I wanted something up together. I wanted it real quick, and I just built it. So as far as me documenting this is concerned, it's not a biggie, because I haven't done it. It's as simple as that. These videos are me adding bits to it as I went. I mean, let's just run through a few bits again. I had a spare piece of steel, one beam. I've got a vernier, so I stuck the rails that far apart on the front of the beam. I bought the Z-axis, and I created this rather Heath Robinson type bracket and stuff, but it's adjustable, so I can make it all square and upright. I literally winged it as we went. I mean, looking here, you can see those holes there that were, you know, they were there for a purpose. Damned if I know what purpose they were for. They're probably for the bearings that sit down here, and I was going to put them on top, but you know, that didn't make sense because I had nowhere to put the rack. That's what I'm saying. I winged it, absolutely winged it. So that was for bearings that were meant to go on the top, and then I thought, well, where the hell can I put the rack? So put the rack on the top, put the bearings in the front. There we go, 2 rails. Across here, you know, this is the Y-axis rails. Should I have put them on top? Hell no, definitely not on the top. These things should have went underneath, or at the very least on the side. The amount of bearings that I get through, you can see the state of that. Okay, you know, I'm changing those bearings. Admittedly, they're relatively cheap because I wanted to do it on the cheap, but I'm changing those bearings once every 6 months, which isn't, you know, a lot in the grand scheme of things, but I've got to change 4 bearings every 6 months. The X-axis bearings, those, nah, never change them. You know, this machine's been going now for quite a while. No problem at all. The anti-backlash nut there for the Z-axis, never changed it, not a problem. That little rubber bush there, starting to do my head in, it squeaks. It's like a squeaky wheel on a bicycle. It's starting to annoy me, so I'm gonna have to do something about that soon. The closed loop steppers, yeah, and the gearbox. If you were to build one of these machines, don't do it without doing that. I tried it. The cuts were not piss poor, but they were poor in comparison to having a 20-to-1 gear ratio gearbox. There is no backlash. I could run this beam all day long, and there is no backlash. We look here at the that stepper online. Good little company, and this is the setup again. Gearbox is there, look. Yeah, got the closed loop stepper there. Same on both sides, one over there. Sprung loaded using die springs. So sprung loaded to push the pinion onto the rack. That is another wear point. You can't see it, but there's a ridge on that pinion now. They need changing out about once a year. They do wear out. The rack is as hard as nails. That doesn't seem to, wear at all. But the pinions are nice and soft, and they do wear. So it's another thing to consider. I mean, in an ideal world, if this was put on, micrometer perfect, you wouldn't need to spring the pinion onto it. You could just set it at a certain distance using a piece of paper as your, as your gauge, and you'd be away. There'd be a tiny bit of backlash there, but it wouldn't be much. But for the sake of, what are these things? £8 each, not even that. £8 for a pinion. Spring the damn thing on there, and have it so you got absolutely no backlash. Gearbox is about £35. If you do total the bearing in the gearbox, get a new one. These things cost money to run. They cost money to maintain. Could it be designed better? Yes, but it's designed with consumable parts in mind. And what I mean by the consumable parts, obviously, are the bearings. They're there. Pinion, in my opinion, is consumable. and the bearings in the gearbox. I guess the gearbox is a consumable, the way I've designed it, because I've designed it because I wanted it to work, and I didn't want any, backlash, because backlash it's a pain in the ass with CNC machines. So anyway, at the risk of making this video way too long, way too long, that's where we're at. So MyPlasm hardware and software. The software, it's okay. It's okay. If I have one criticism with Lukasz, and I know he's doing his best, and I know that he's pushed for time, I think it would be nice if we had configurable keyboard shortcuts. Because, for instance, you come down here, you pick up your keyboard, you walk down this end, and you're looking at your machine, and you make a cut, and you want to go to, I don't know, say you want to go to 0, 0, 0 of your project. You can't do it. Yeah, you've got to program an F key, and in this case, looking at my keyboard, you can see I use F1 a lot. And the other thing is rewind the program. You can stop it by pressing escape. You can press F5 to make it go again. But what if you want to rewind? What if you've got a jig set up on the table and you want to rewind the program and start it again? It'd be really nice just to have a button on here. There's quite a few buttons on a keyboard. If we could have configurable shortcuts, I think that would improve it absolutely no end. It just would improve it no end. There's other trick stuff that I would like to see on here. So, oops. So, for instance, when you look at the context menu here, cut from this path, cut from this point, cut line from here. All of this stuff I use quite a bit. I use that a lot. And I use cut from this path a lot, because if something does mess up, and don't get me wrong, it's not the software or the hardware that messes up, it's me that messes up, because I end up not taking notice of parts like this. For instance, you can see some parts there stuck up. Well, if the parts in this, let's pull it out. Let's say that, these parts that cut out of here, oh God, come out here, stick up, they catch the torch, because my torch has got a breakout on it, look. So that breaks out, it stops the program, and you want to say, cut path from here. It would be really nice if you could, when you stood down at that end of the machine, to move the torch to roughly where you want it to start and go, cut from this path, and it could identify what path you're talking about, because your X and Y's are all registering you're near a path. It'd be great if you go, oh, you mean that path, and then it could carry on cutting. Maybe that's a little bit too simplistic, and Lukasz would probably rip me a new one, but those sorts of things I think could make it an awesome piece of software, not just a good piece of software. It would make it awesome if we could just have configurable keyboard shortcuts. It would make a world of difference, I think, probably to everybody. That's not it's not a major slight on on what's been done already, and new releases are frequent, which is quite rare in this sort of world. I know guys not too far from me here that are running software that's 18 years old and it has never been updated, and it can only be installed on Windows XP machines. What? I mean, if you build a machine and you're going to sell it, you've got to have at least some kind of support for the software. As long as you're in business, I believe you ought to support all the software all of the time, and put some effort into, accommodating all the advances in technology as it goes. I just think you should do that, but that's me. Anyway, like I say, this is a long rambling video. I wanted to show you how that it still cuts like a demon, this thing. You haven't got to be much of a genius to say that is very, very cool cuts. dross on the back is completely minimal. Quick blast over with the floppy disk, and you're good to go. There you go. You've got one little thermometer icon logo thingy. In a minute, that'll be yeah, certainly in the blue here, because it was pretty cold this morning at 3 degrees C. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, 30 something. But there we go. It's an update, and I can only apologize once again for not posting any more content. We're already up around 25 minutes long, and I've rambled at least 27 of those minutes. So anyway, all the best. I really appreciate everybody's patience. I really appreciate the following. So, you know, if you like these sorts of videos and you do want to see more, and I will produce more, please like and subscribe. Every subscriber is, you know, is at the risk of sounding cheesy as hell. It just makes it a little bit of a family thing going on where, you know, you ask me questions and I try to answer. I don't think I have ever not answered a question. This is where I find out I have. But I don't remember not answering a question. As it comes in, usually I try to answer it best I can. If I haven't got the information, I try to find out that information. But anyway, as I say, all the best. See you on the next one. And the next one will be coming pretty quick smart, because I want to do a workshop update. And like I say, please like and subscribe. It all makes a big difference to me. I am opening a Patreon channel soon for all kinds of, you know, executive content. And there is some big news ahead. So take care. Cheers.